Shalom, brothers and sisters. It's the Hebrew Life again. I'm Base Jerusalem, and I'm back with another lesson. We're going to call this one, Can the Gentiles be saved? Yeah, can the Gentiles be saved? This is a popular question among Hebrew Israelites, because when these Hebrews come out of these false doctrines within these camps, that's one of the questions that's not answered. Can the Gentile be saved? These camps preach hate doctrine. They preach hate doctrine and they take brothers away from the true gospel of the Most High through his son, Yeshua the HaMashiach. I'm going to prove today that the Gentiles can be saved if they follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Hebrew Israelites through the Hebrew Israelites. We're going to start at Genesis chapter 10, because first we got to find out who the Gentiles are. We can't talk about the Gentiles and can they be saved. We don't know what the word Gentile means and where it comes from. So we're going to go to the scriptures of when the first time the word Gentile was mentioned. Genesis chapter 10. And I'm going to read. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, Tyrus, and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Repha, Togarmah, and the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families and their nations. Now, as we see right here, is our first mention of the word Gentiles in the scriptures. They are the so-called white people of the world today, the so-called Europeans, Russians, Chinese, and several other forms of Japheth. But what we know is Japheth is referred to as a Gentile. That's what a Gentile is. The question is, can they be saved? We're going to go to Genesis chapter 12, because through Abraham, all of the families of the earth was to be blessed. We're going to read that. Genesis chapter 12, we're going to start at verse 3. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And indeed all the families of the earth be blessed. So right here, the Most High was saying, through Abraham, if you bless Abraham, if you curse Abraham, depending on what you do, you were going to get. So if you blessed them, you were going to be blessed. If you cursed the seed of Abraham, you were going to be cursed. So we see right here that all the families can be blessed through Abraham. Now, the question is, can a Gentile be saved? If you pay attention in the Old Testament, there's a group of people referred to as strangers and sojourners. Now, what people fail to say is these strangers and sojourners are Gentiles and people of other nations who are not Israel, who choose to sojourn with us and follow our laws. We're going to go to 2 Chronicles, because King Solomon asked the Most High for something concerning the strangers. 2 Chronicles. We're going to start at, I believe it's in chapter 6. Yeah, chapter 6. We're going to start at verse 32 to unlock this can there be Gentile saved thing. And I'm going to read. Moreover, concerning the stranger, which is not of thy people Israel, but is come from a far country for thy great name's sake, and thy mighty hand, and thy stretched out arm, if they come and pray in this house, and hear thou from the heavens, even from thy dwelling place, and do according to all that the stranger calleth to thee for, and that all the people of the earth may know thy name, and fear thee, as doeth thy people Israel, and may know that this house which I have built is called by thy name. As we see in 2 Chronicles, King Solomon asked the Most High to even hear the stranger's name in the place where the temple was built, in their dwelling place, so that his name could be magnified in the earth to not only his people, but to the rest of the world. I know it seems kind of out the box. If you read in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 12, it explains that the Gentiles were alienated from the Most High. This is why Gentiles show the most barbaric behavior. They show the least connection with the Most High because they never knew him. They were alienated. They didn't know about the Most High until they ran into Israel, until they ran into Paul. Now, what you see the Gentiles doing today is brasking. Yeah, they're boasting against the natural branches, according to Romans. That's what they're doing. But before we get to the Gentiles boasting against the natural branches, we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 56, because again, the Gentiles are spoken about. The strangers, the sojourners. And we want to know, can they be saved? Because it's a doctrine going out that they can't be saved. That's not the true gospel. We're going to prove that today. Isaiah chapter 56. And I'll read. We're going to start at verse 6. And I'm going to read. Also, the sons of the stranger that joined themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servant, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant, even them I will bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar, for mine house shall be called the house of prayer for all people. There we go right there again. If you read in Isaiah chapter 56, verse 6, the Most High said, all people, the sons of the strangers. These are all nations outside of Israel, including the Gentiles. The Most High don't have to say white people. He's going to call them what he named them, Gentiles. And I already explained why they're the Gentiles, because they have the least connection with the Most High. Now we're going to jump to Romans, because the Gentiles were not the boast, just because they were grafted in, because the Most High wanted to make us jealous, doesn't mean they're supposed to boast against the natural branches. They're still supposed to be under us. They're still supposed to follow the laws through us. They're not supposed to take the lead in teaching the people about the Most High and His Son, Yeshua the HaMashiach. That's what they're doing wrong in the world today. They're boasting against the natural branches. We are the natural branches. Hebrew Israelites are the natural branches. Romans. And we're going to find something out. I'm going to read. We're going to start at verse 17. Chapter 11 of verse 17 of Romans. And if some of the branches be broken off, thou being a wild olive tree, wert grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and the fatness of the olive tree. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. These people who are not following the scriptures, boasting against the natural, not following scriptures according to what we say and how we teach, boasting against the natural branches, teaching the word out of their own hearts, are boasting against the natural branches. This is what confuses people. We are the people who's supposed to teach the word. They're supposed to be under us. I'm going to jump to Acts, because in Acts, the Most High said we should be a light to the Gentiles. A light. I'm going to jump to Acts and read that. Now that I think I've got people's attention with can Gentiles be saved? I've already read that they can. I'm going to close the casket on this in a few minutes, but I already proved that they can be saved. Now I'm going to go through the scriptures to see what we're supposed to do in this. In Acts chapter 13, verse 47, I'm going to read. For so hath the Lord commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles, that thou shouldest be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. And when the Gentiles heard this, they were glad and glorified the word of the Lord. Right there, we hear that the Most High told us that we were supposed to be a light to the Gentiles. So salvation can come to the ends of the earth. The Most High wanted everybody to follow his laws through his children, Hebrew Israelites, the children of Israel, through us. Now, I'm going to go to Matthew 10 right fast, because people get it misconstrued. We were supposed to go to the Jews first. It was the Jew first, then the Gentile. We have to take care of our own people first. Our people, black people, need the most helping in today's world. They're the most lost. They're even loster than the Gentiles today. And they're the original branches. It's crazy. We're going to go to Matthew 10. Matthew 10. And I'm going to read Matthew 10 and 5. And the 12 Jesus sent forth, commanding them, saying, Go not unto the way of the Gentiles, and unto any of the cities of Samaritans. Enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. There we go again. We were supposed to go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel first, then to the Gentiles. The Gentiles have a better touch with the laws than we have now. They know more about the laws than we know. A lot of lost jakes out there on the streets. Now, to close this casket, we're going to go to Revelations, because in Revelations it speaks about people in heaven who are not of Israel, a multitude of nations. Revelations, and we're gonna start at verse, I think it's Revelations. It might be, I think it's Revelation 6. It's Revelation chapter 6. Yes. And I'm going to read. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne, before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our Yah, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. As we read in Revelations, these angels with white robes on were of all nations. Everybody who wanted to follow the covenant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was to be saved. Not just Israel. Even though we're close and we're special, we are the children of the Most High. But everybody who loves the Most High with us were to be saved. Everybody who died for righteousness, everybody who died for something that was right, no matter what nation they were, whether they were Gentiles, whether they were of another nation as a Hamite or a Canaanite, if you love the Most High and his laws, and you follow the law, statutes, and commandments, you shall be saved too. But you cannot brass against the natural branches. We are the natural branches. You must come through us. You cannot come through the Christian churches. You cannot come through the Roman Catholic churches. You cannot come through Islam. You cannot come through any of these other false pagan religions to get the Savior. You cannot be saved going through another. There's many ways to hell. There's a narrow path to the Most High. And the only way you can get salvation is following his law, statutes, and commandments. He said, if you love me, follow my commandments. With that being said, I proved that the Gentiles can be saved through the law, statutes, and commandments of Yeshua and Yahuwah. And I proved that all nations can be saved through the covenant of Abraham. So there should not be any questions about can Gentiles be saved anymore? Unbased Jerusalem, this the Hebrew life.